All right, welcome everybody. It is David Thomas. I got with me Mr. Jay Woolwine, as I always do. So we jump in here, as you guys know, every Tuesday around 4 p.m. Eastern to share a little bit of motivation, inspiration, and education. So if this is your first time watching us, glad you decided to jump on today. And we want to impart some value every single week. Sometimes we'll talk directly about trading mindset, which is obviously why a lot of you are here, or trading, not necessarily the mindset, although that should be the most important part. But sometimes we talk about just personal development or things that just will relate to anybody's life that you can potentially benefit from. So today is one of those sessions. So today we're going to be talking about having a thick skin. You know, having a thick skin can really change your entire outlook on life. The world, it's not always gentle. you know People say things, situations get rough. If you let every single thing get to you, you're really setting yourself up for misery. I've noticed, like, especially in like workplaces and things like that, people thrive. The people that do thrive are the ones that don't take things personally, right? Could be feedback, could be criticism, or even just dealing with difficult people. You know, they've got this resilience that lets them focus on what matters instead of getting sidetracked by hurt feelings or, going and pouting and sulking and all of those things. So, you know, that used to get to me as well. I used to get hung up on what other people thought of me, and it got exhausting, and we all go through it at one point or the other, but you kind of hopefully realize that, if you can learn to brush things off, man, things just become lighter.
Yeah, it's like a superpower, like a superhero. It's like building an emotional armor, right? Not to shut the world out, but to choose what penetrates your armor, right? What do you let in? And when you make that choice, right, you don't easily get offended, right? You gain control over what you're letting in, right? Over that narrative instead of reacting to everything small, right? Every slight thing, you decide what's worth spending your energy on, right? You've heard that saying, like, choose your battles, right? This is being in a position to choose your battles and not just everything's a fight, right? So, I mean, I've seen it in my own life. Back when I used to take everything personally, right? I remember I was like the keyboard warrior, right? Everybody that would message me something about the Forex thing, right? I would like argue with them, and then like I just don't do it. Like it was just wasted energy, right? I just don't do it anymore. So now when somebody says something that's harsh or unfair or just a straight out lie, right? I just think, is this is this about me? Is this personal, or is it their issue, right? Maybe it's about them, right? And 9 times out of 10, it's their own issue, right? And they're just projecting. And once you understand that, it's liberating, right? It frees you up and saves your energy from wasting it on things like that and spending on things that truly matter, right? It's your goals, your happiness, and your own peace of mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about like the external situations either. It can change your internal dialogue as well. For example, when you stop taking offense, you give yourself a chance to actually self-reflect without the defenses coming up, without judgment, right? Instead of you feeling attacked, you can ask yourself, is there truth in this feedback? It's like you move from a defensive state into like a growth state, a growth mindset. I noticed actually this a lot when I opened up my restaurant. As you can imagine, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears goes into it. And every menu item I designed myself. It wasn't a chain, it wasn't a franchise. Everything was my own creation. And when somebody would say something, critical about anything, like, it could be the food, could be the way we did things, whatever, like, man, I had a hard time really taking it very personal and really getting defensive, but once you start to realize, and actually I grew a lot during that process of realizing, okay, let's think about it. Is this really something I can learn from? Try to find the lesson in it. And sometimes there's a really good lesson. And we actually did a lot of improvements based on people's critiques and things like that, seeing what people liked, if it's majority votes and things like that. But sometimes the lesson is the other person's just having a bad day. We all have them. And it had nothing to do with me at all. This customer came in, they were having a bad day at work and they wanted to take it out on the server, and on the restaurant. So either way, you get to keep your peace, and that is priceless.
Yeah. And it's having that, being in that position, right? It's crucial for building strong relationships with other people, right? When you don't get offended easily, you become a safe person for them to talk to, right? You become the person that they go to, right? When they feel like they can be honest with you, right? Without walking on eggshells around you, because you're not that person that, like I said before, like I was just like sensitive to everything, right? And I took everything to heart, and then that people feel that, right? So then they're like, I'm just gonna not tell Jay about that because I know he's gonna get upset, right? So that's not a good foundation for relationships, right? I've seen it with my own friends and family, right? They know I'm not gonna blow up over some misunderstood joke, right? Or especially jokes, my sarcasm or constructive criticism, right? I mean, it builds trust, right? And on the flip side, it makes you a better communicator as well. And you learn to approach those tough conversations without the fear of, drama, right? You know that it's like a cycle, right? It's less offensive, leads to being less offensive, right? Leads to more openness, which leads to deeper connections. And I mean, at the end of the day, isn't that really what we all want? We want deeper connections, right? We want to be connected, to be understood, and and to understand other people, right? And without the noise of unnecessary offenses getting in the way.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a really good point. I didn't even think about that, how it affects others. But you're right, it's like being less reactive. You create a space for honesty, you create a space for growth, not just for yourself, but for those around you too. I think at its core, it's about not letting ego drive your reactions, right? Because we all have pride, we all have ego. But when you're always getting offended, it's often because, your pride's hurt, right? You feel threatened, your ego's hurt. And when you can put that aside, you're open to a lot more. You can learn, you can adapt, you can even forgive more easily. And the truth is, life's too short. I mean, there's a saying. Oh man, I should have looked at this up before we did this call. Isn't there a saying like when you drink, holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other people to
Waiting for the other person to die. Yeah.
exactly the truth. So it's so much better to easily forgive, and you're able to do that more when you're not getting your feelings hurt all the time. There's so much more fulfilling things to focus on in life than who hurt your feelings. So whether it's building something meaningful, spending, time with loved ones, enjoying those little moments that they get clouded when you're being negative, or when you're sulking, when you're pouting, when you're offended.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's there's more to it than just, you're not trying to like be numb or suppress your emotions either, right? It's about picking and choosing, right? It's about discernment. Not every situation deserves your emotional investment, right? It's like you're being selective about what you're going to put your mental and emotional energy into, right? Think of it as like maintaining your own garden, right? You decide which seeds you're going to water, right? Um, you do you nurture growth and positivity and understanding, or are you going to be watering the weeds of offense and resentment, right? When you think about it like that, it seems like an easy choice, right? I mean, it takes practice, but over time it becomes more natural. It becomes a part of who you are, and when you slip up, because you're going to, we all do, you can recognize it. It's that self-awareness, right? Make an adjustment and move on without that baggage.
Yeah, I mean that's a good metaphor. It's true. The life gives us many opportunities to either hold on to negativity or let it go. And I find that when I choose not to be offended, it kind of just it's freeing. It's like choosing freedom. You don't realize how heavy that baggage really is, until you got to put it down. All right. It's a daily practice. And like you said, it's not about being numb. It's about staying light, staying agile, rolling with the punches. It lets you handle challenges with a clear mind, a steady heart. And honestly, I think the world needs more of those people, right? More people that can navigate life with strength, with grace, with poise, and they can take a hit and they can just keep on moving and without letting it like shake them, to their core.
Yeah, exactly. When you live life like that, you're setting an example, right? People notice, right? And it can be in it can be inspiring, right, to people around you, showing them that peace isn't about avoiding conflict, but about navigating it with, with resilience, right? Being strong in the face of adversity, right? It's about being the calm in the storm, right? And when you approach life that way, you you'll start to see challenges as opportunities to grow, right? Instead of a threat, right? And whether it's at work or in your personal life or in your day-to-day interactions with people, having a thick skin helps you stay focused on what truly matters, right? And at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about, right? Living a life where your happiness and your purpose aren't so easily shaken by the world around you.
Yeah, I mean, I like what you said. You said the challenges are opportunities, and that kind of goes back to what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, right? With obstacle is the way. Yeah, those challenges can be the opportunities. So that can be the same with, critical feedback or not even, positive feedback, right? Somebody coming at you. It's an opportunity to potentially create a new friendship, get to know that person, ask some questions, see why they're reacting that way. Can you really learn from that, right? Can you grow from that feedback? And you know what? Sometimes it's no good and you just brush it off. And like we said, sometimes it's their problem. But you have to be able to roll with the punches. You got to be agile. You got to be steady. You got to be light on your feet and realize, you know what? There's more to life than holding a grudge against somebody who had a bad day or wanted to let out their frustration on me. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe I was a little too invested in that gourmet burger that I put out, and I put a little too much sauce on it. And you know what? Even though I think that's what it needed, they're right. That's not what the masses want. So you get it. It's you gotta be open, be light, and not take offense. So hope you get value out of this. We appreciate you for watching as always. And yeah, we'll see everybody back next week, or we'll see you later in the week. All right. God bless. See you. Bye.
You guys.